commitment. Similar, not the same. And at times, they are so similar, it's hard to distinguish. It's hard to tell what is your commitment and versus what's your good intention. It's hard to tell because they are so similar and not the same. The thing is that one bears more of its likeness, and the other, it bears something rich, something new, something that's never been before. The tree doesn't make the same apple every time. Every year it's a whole new tree full of new apples. Something that's similar, if you're looking to tell the difference, is that you're just creating more and more and more and more and more the same. And you can, take this opportunity, if that's your case, to say, well, I just have a lot of good intentions. I'm not yet committed. Good intentions will get you that, a whole lot of the same, and you haven't changed yourself. And sometimes our good intentions, they become mechanical, like a process, where we think that we can manipulate. But commitment is the door through which we enter into a relationship with the divine, where there is a surrender, not a manipulation. A surrender to the divine power and presence of God. It's where commitment is somehow outside. We think that commitment is somehow outside of us or unrelated to our inner landscape. So we don't commit. We think that it's unrelated to who we are. Right? So Howard Thurman says a little bit more about this commitment, and that it's not mechanical. He says that it's not a unilateral act in the midst of other unilateral acts on the part of the individual. He says it is rather an ingathering of all phases of one's being, a creative summary of the individual's life. It is a saturation of the self with the mood and the integrity of assent, where something total within man and within woman says yes to commitment. It's not unilateral. It's not sometime. It's not in this situation or not in that circumstance. I'm committed to this, but not that. It just says yes. Or something total within us says yes. It is a unanimous vote and not a mere plurality. It is a yielding of the mind and yet more than the mind. It is the agreement of the self expressed in an act of will and yet more than a will. It is the sensation of all the feeling tones and yet more than our emotions. Despite this ramification, the act of commitment may pinpoint a certain moment in time or a certain encounter in given circumstances or a place or an act of decision that stands out boldly on the horizon of all one's days, the roots spread out in all dimensions of living. It is for this reason that what one sees as true in a moment of great insight or lucid encounter must be experienced as true. This takes time. Commitment takes time. One who is committed knows that commitment is about me. Commitment is about you, not anything external. external. Commitment is about you committing to everything within you, the divine presence within you, knowing who you are and knowing what you want. Howard Thurman calls it a radical reorientation, the self to the self, to the divine within us. Commitment carries you places that, to situations and circumstances where you don't even know that you're prepared for the situation and the circumstance. Commitment gathers all that you are and goes before you with whatever is before you. Commitment says yes when you say no. Commitment leads you, it guides you, it directs you. Commitment turns into love, and when something that's not love finds its way to you, suddenly it becomes love. You have to know the difference between your good intentions. You have to be willing to know who you are. Am I meditating and praying for some good intent? Or am I meditating and I'm praying because I'm committed? Because I'm committed to knowing who I am. I'm committed to having peace in my life. I'm committed to knowing what I want. I'm committed to knowing I want peace. I'm committed to knowing I want love. I'm committed to knowing I want peace. I'm committed to knowing I want joy. I'm committed to knowing that wherever I am, there I am. And whatever is before me is before me. But that all that I am comes together in some great form to become something, to transform me into being something that I've never been before. Commitment means you don't have to know. You just have to show up. Commitment doesn't care what others say, what others do. It just is. See? Change yourself. Be sure within yourself that you are not calling your good intent commitment. Because Lauryn Hill says that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I'm getting ready to close here. Howard Thurman says that this idea of commitment, that is a part of the growing, that commitment is a growing ministry. And it places upon the individual a solidarity demand that pulls at one point of focus all the fragments of his life and of her life and makes him or her whole again and again. And the testimony is that a man or a woman did not know he or she had been fragmented until he or she became whole. He or she did not know that he or she was lost until he or she was found. Commitment. Change yourself. Practitioners, join me and help me anchor this idea of commitment. Join me as we all open up to a greater understanding where our inner landscape is so changed that it's made into something new right before our very eyes. The eyes that can see what we can't see with our human eyes. And where our inner landscape is so changed that we begin to hear with parts of us that we never know that we could hear with. That we begin to sense and know this power and this presence, the divine within us. Where we begin to sense it and know it so fully. When we realize in those places, in those spaces, that we are lost, that suddenly we are found. I'm talking about one mind, one power, one presence, one energy, one essence, one idea, one grand idea, one magnificence in its plenitude of possibilities. Where the thing within us desires to know life, is committed to moving, to changing, to be transformed and transmuted, to become someone new. Where I affirm and know that nothing deters us. That our roots spread out so vast and so wide that the possibilities, they really do become infinite. The possibilities really do become a good idea in our mind as it is in the mind of God. I affirm and know this to be the only action and the only activity occurring for me and occurring for you. And so I know now that we let go of our good intentions and we embrace our fullness, our wholeness. We commit to knowing who we are and what we want. And I know in this moment then that not a single cell within us is desiring to turn back, to go the other way. No, we fully commit, knowing that all that we need, all that we desire, wherever we find ourselves, with whatever we are doing, with whatever we call forth in life, we allow the commitment within us, the roots within us that is spurred so to bring back to us, to make known to us that heaven is here now and that all of our needs are met. Oh, I'm glad about it. I'm grateful for it. I'm thankful for it. And you ought to be glad about it. You ought to be thankful for it and knowing that all your needs are met. That whatever you need to know, you know. That whatever you need in substance form, you have. That the right people are showing up with the right ideas. That right here and right now, we get to experience heaven on earth. Oh, I'm glad about it. I'm glad I'm not confused. That I know that commitment is something more than I can even imagine. That I willingly let go of my good intentions to save myself. I don't need to be saved. I'm already whole. I'm already perfect. I'm already complete. You're already whole. You're already perfect. You're already complete. It is and it is. Oh, I'm glad about it. I know this truth about me. I know this truth about you. I know this truth about them. The truth is the truth. And now in this moment, we are set free. So I just simply gather these words that have been spoken. I place them into the law of mind that I know that's within each one of us, that part of us that's committed to knowing the truth, that it grabs hold of the truth, that it affirms it, and that nothing in us in this moment denies it. Where I know for sure it is done. We stand in great acceptance of it, expecting its demonstration and its manifestation in form right here and right now. And it was with ease and grace then that we just simply allow these words to be. We let them go. We let God. So be it and so it